today I brought you guys a monstrosity.
Listen up, Rangers. Welcome to the Geek Chest. My name's Steve. I got some heads. Because what I'll be doing today is some sculpting. And showing you guys actually two 1/6 figures when all is said and done. But the one I gotta do predominantly more work on than the other one. Well, the other one I still have to put work in, but it's not as complex. So what I got here is two faces. I'm going to be making kind of like a ghoul face for this one, which is why I got the skull head. Then they're relatively about the same size, which helps. I do got to modify the body that I'm currently using, but we'll get to that here in a little bit, because I already did a little bit of it. But gonna be making a ghoul head for this, and also gonna be adding real hair. It'll be like the fabric fur. That'll be the hair for this, because ideally it's gonna look something like this. Is the game. What this is I don't think he ever sent me a name officially, but scrolling through, but it's essentially like a proxy to Slenderman, which is, fun fact, the other figure. So doing a ghoul head and then doing a masked variation, which is going to be kind of like Ghostface, but with a more pumpkin head look to it, which will be interesting. Because I've been trying to kind of figure out how I want to do the eyes, which I'm probably just going to sit here with a pin, just poke the holes to make the mesh look. This is what I think, but we're going to start on that. I think I'm going to do this first because it'll be the quickest thing. I don't really got to do that much. It's just adding some epoxy putty to replicate skin, essentially. And then I gotta let it cure, and then I can do the hair after. Also, I gotta real quick figure out what the heck I'm doing for eyeballs. I could make them, but that'll take longer because I'll have to make little balls, put them in there, let it cure. I could try doing it all at once, but that doesn't sound very fun. And looking over the image, yeah, I'm still going to want to do that, because there's going to want to be like a little bit of skin in the back. But you're still going to want to pretty much see the bone here. And then for this, it's going to be putting the mask over top of this, and then gluing on fabric for the cloth for the back here to replicate that. I don't know, it's like a hood, I guess. I'm not sure what to call it, but it hides the rest of your head. So gonna mix up some epoxy, just using Abe's epoxy. It's 50-50, so you mix up equal parts, and then start detailing. Alright, so I think I found my eye joints. It's a Figma hip joint from one of the figures we smashed. I can glue this into the eye hole, and that should do the trick. So I'm just gonna snip off this excess here, which I think I got a knife because I'd rather not use that. Although I do got this crappy one here. Maybe the crappy one will do. Also, if you hear my voice, I can't really talk a whole heck of a lot right now. I don't have COVID. I tested myself, but my throat's been bugging the crap out of me, and I think I got a cold. So it's good times around here. Alright, so that's like that. We're gonna get that glued in there. I'm actually gonna use this to put this in there. Yeah, there we go. Got eyeballs. Okay, I'm gonna mix up my stuff and start sculpting. I'm gonna put some music on because talking sucks right now. one head done. The paint job. Got them all spooky looking. Next is adding hair, which I'm going to be using this. I'm just going to be snipping it off and just gluing on it, pretty much just layering it around the head as I make my way up. I might try to make a part, probably where that scar is. I'll just kind of follow that. But outside of that, first time doing this, so hopefully it goes good.
Alright, so here's Mr. Slenderman in his finished glory. For the most part, he was actually pretty easy. Outside of, like, if I'm remembering correctly, you guys would have seen me sculpting the heads. Which, for Slenderman, I don't think I showed this part. But it was literally just, I sanded down the face and went over the front of it with the epoxy putty. And I think it actually turned out really cool. Especially, you could see where I've removed the face off of it, but I think it gives it more of like a creature characteristic. Like, it's wants to have features, but they're so like distorted and flat that it doesn't look natural, and that's kind of the way I was going with for it. Same with the paint job. It's got more of a texture to it because I was just applying the paint as dabs so that it looks a little rougher, which again I think kind of helps to make it look more creature-esque. And then the rest of it was just dressing it. Essentially, we had to order the clothing and then get it all set up so like the jacket could come off here if you wanted to. If you want to smexy up your Slenderman, I didn't paint the entire thing. It's just his neck. I did in some white liquid latex paint so that it would adhere because it was a softer material up here, so the paint will flex better. It's not quite as white as I wanted it, but it'll do. It matches. It's just if you get it in the right lighting, you can see there's a little bit of a difference. But for the most part, especially with the clothing, you're not going to notice it. Also, touched up the white around the feet too, which a lot of really quick stuff. The nice thing about this one is there was a lot of customizing, but there wasn't a lot of work. At least Slenderman. The biggest part for Slenderman was this bad boy here, which is its tentacle backpack, which is what these were. Was they're puppet fingers. So you would put them on your fingers so you'd have like octopus tentacles. I glued those all together and then used some molding foam to make the centerpiece here, and then just made sure after this dried here I re-glued everything onto it so this ain't coming apart unless you forcefully do it. And then I also added some magnets to the bottom, and where the magnets are on here is I glued them underneath the coat. And main reason is the coat's the thickest material, so you won't see the magnets. So if you don't want to have the backpack on, it doesn't take away from the illusion. But you gotta get in the right orientation because the way the magnets work. But stays on nice. It's got a bit of a wiggle, like it'll adjust, but it's not gonna fall off or go anywhere. And overall, really pleased with the end result there. And paint job, pretty basic. It was just painted black, added some gray to the suckers here. So for the most part, it was a pretty simple one. And he also is going to have a bunch of extra hands. I think they were female gloves, which gave us a lot of variety. My favorite is that it comes with middle fingers, so you can have Slenderman just flipping off all the other monsters in the display. So that's going to be super sweet, but really pleased with the end result for him. Looks really good. Oh yeah, also I forgot. He's got a hat. Look, had a hat. It's for if you want Slenderman to be... Because this was... You might have seen the Slenderman custom I done before on the channel. This is actually for the same individual, which we'll get to it in a second. But he wanted one that was more incognito. So that's what this one is. This is Slenderman hunting down the children. And then the fun thing, I actually literally just got done, so that I could ship these out, is he's also going to have his pages. And this was the fun one to figure out. So I got all 8 pages. And you'll see it's reflective. What I did here is I literally just found the pages on the internet, printed them off, and then with cardstock, printed it off, and then I weathered the paper just a little bit on the front. The back I wasn't really too concerned about it, but the front did that, so a little bit of browns here and there, just to make it look more beat up. Because I actually ran out of colored ink, so thought it'd give it a nice little... It makes it look a little more legit than just printing it off. And then I actually use the clear plastic that you would get from your boxes. So this plastic right here is what I used with some spray glue to keep them intact, so now they'll a lot more durable. It's not going to rip. I was thinking about just doing the one side, but I decided to do both just to keep it secure. And one of the pages was in there, but there's 8 pages. And funny enough, he actually has a hand that he can hold on to him. So he can hold on to his pages. If you want to have them displayed with it. Sort of regretting not doing the back, because I was kind of thinking about them would be more like displayed around the feet or what have you. But really pleased with him. He was a fun thing. He was a fun one. It's just because a lot of this stuff is imported from China, it takes freaking forever to get. But the next one was a little bit more complicated. Also has a care. One thing I gotta do before I ship this guy out is I need to lint roll him really bad. But this one, I just realized his hoodie's not on correctly. Hold on. Gotta get his head piece tucked in, because the mask here, I'll talk about it a little bit while I'm doing this. But the mask is supposed to be more akin to a ghost face. So it has that, like, the black fabric on the back, which I made sure to have that. But what this is supposed to be is, his name's Mr. Smiler, and he's sort of like an apostle, not impostle, I don't know what that would be. He's an apostle. Anyways, he's like a minion of Slenderman. So what I did here is, again, it was ordered the clothing, got a base body, ordered the wrong base body, and had a fun time trying to modify this guy in order to work with the same kind of fashion accessories to go with him. So I had to redo the legs because it didn't have the ball joints. Thankfully, the body I had was Slendy over there. It came with extras, so I was good to go there. So I had to glue these in epoxy putty so they would stay. Hands, I had to re-drill these hands to work with them. But he does have a pair of hands. These ones, I think, were originally meant to be for a Joker figure. And then did a lot of weathering for the clothing. As you can see, it's really dirty. Got some blood here and there. Did it underneath. A lot of this, if you guys want to replicate it, it's literally just acrylic paints and sandpaper. I was just sitting here just scuffing the crap out of it. Same with the coat. I used a little bit of the Dremel too, just to hit it a little harder in certain sections. Especially like his knees. I wanted to be more scuffy. Same with on the coat. Wanted it more scuffed in certain sections because he's supposed to be, backstory wise, he kind of lives out in the woods, doesn't shower, doesn't change his clothing, so you want it really grimy, really dirty. Definitely wanted to be abused, right? And then for the mask, you guys would have seen me sculpting that, but it is a pumpkin mask done in blacks and greens. The one he sent me it's like a manufactured mask, so I decided to make it a little bit more scary and try to make it look more organic. And then, just like you guys, this part I don't remember if I filmed, so I'll show you. But it has its own fabric. All I did was just added some glue and just gently adhered it around the face. And then I got this to be attached. And then I just made some extra and it just hangs. And I think that's about pretty much it for the head. It also is swappable. I had to make a new joint. You guys will see there. I just use the same ball joints I use for like the Kaiju Customs. And then he's got his scary skin falling off face head, which, not the easiest thing, I'm going to admit, to swap in and out, but it is doable. And then you guys will see me doing this. I don't remember, I'm pretty sure I filmed the hair. So you guys would have seen me attaching the hair. And then afterwards, I just used green acrylic paint with a toothbrush and just combed the hair to get it the right shade. Because again, wanted to look dirty, wanted to look like he hasn't bathed in a while, so it's green, it's mossy. And then it's even got a little bit of a oily texture to it, as I used coconut oil and went over the hair a little bit there. And then for the face was just sculpted over top of a 1/6 scale skull. There's epoxy putty to make the face on the front. I ended up kind of going with Tarman, if you guys know that zombie. It's from one of those Living Dead movies. I forget which one, so my apologies in advance. But I kind of harken back to him a little bit in the design, especially with the way the eyes are set up. So he's got a little bit more scary appearance. Nice yellow teeth. And then the skin, at least for the mask he was sending me, was very white, so that's why I went with the coloring for that. But it still has the bone texture, or bone coloring on the side. You got the red here for the muscles, for the jaw. And he's got some gore, slashes, and eyebrows. Eyebrows are very important. And his bloody little knife. And overall, like, one thing that was nice about the body, having messed up ordering the one, is it's actually really thin, so it worked really well for intended purposes. And but yeah, it's still very flexible. So he's definitely fairly posable. I will say this one elbow is a little loose, so the fabric likes to kind of torque it a little bit. But overall, really pleased with it. Super happy with this. And was a fun custom. I actually wouldn't mind doing some more of these ones. Because the only other one I've ever done is the Guyver, which was a very, very, very time-consuming figure. I know not everybody's seen that video, so I can get him out of the display case. As I just knocked his hand off. Woe is me. I do actually want to come back to him, because I got a couple of things I want to update on this guy. Specifically, I kind of want to redo his eyes. Was really pleased with that, the way they sit currently, but the battery died, so I'd have to pop it apart anyways to swap out the battery. And I think I could make the eyes look a little bit more accurate to the movie than what I went with. And I just cleaned up a couple of the blacks, because you'll see here, like when he turns his leg, it still kind of shows a little bit there, but nothing crazy. It's not like he's going to be posed like that, you know? But so there's a couple of things for this one. But this is the only other 1/6 scale figure I've done. And this one was, like, this is more traditional, like, Hot Toys style. This one I went more NECA. So he's fully sculpted, no cloth, nothing there. Well, this guy is very much cloth, but super sweet. Between the two, I would say I like this guy better. I like Mr. Smiler. But Slenderman's definitely, like, it looks like Slenderman, like 100%, but I like having fun with the more crazy ideas. But anyways, let me know in the comment section below what you guys thought. If you guys are into Slenderman. Everything's falling apart on me now when I'm actually talking about stuff. If you guys like Mr. Smiler there, let me know in the comment section below, and help us defeat those kaijus by hitting the like button, subscribe, become a ranger today. We also got Instagram, Patreon, Pinterest, Facebook. Guys, like people to date with channel and donate. Greatly would appreciate it. Also, again, the person that these are getting sent to was a Patreon. So if you guys are interested in picking up, getting your own commission, it's one of the easiest ways to get a hold of me is through our Patreon, because I can work with that. Same with my Instagram. But I do generally tend to cut people breaks if they do donate. But anyways, see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.